Welcome to lesson number 2. How did you get on with your purpose and mission statement? I hope you at least have a rough draft ready of each on paper. This lesson focuses on strategy and will build on what you've learned so far. Now, of course, we could talk about strategy for hours, but this video is only going to cover the basics. So let's dive in. First, what is a strategy? Well, a strategy is a way of describing how you are going to get things done. A strategy is less specific than an action plan or a project plan, which tells you the who, what, and when. That's not what we're talking about here. Instead, it tries to broadly answer the question, how do we get from here to there? If we're standing at point A right now, how do we reach our mission at point B? Now remember from lesson 1, we said your purpose informs your mission. Well, your mission informs your strategy. You already know your why and your what. So next you need to think about your how. How are you going to achieve your mission? However, from one purpose and one mission come several strategies. It's important to note though that you should only ever have one strategy per function, domain or working group of your DAO. You should not have 2 product strategies or 2 go-to-market strategies at the same time. This will just confuse everyone. Although your DAO's purpose and mission will mostly remain consistent, the strategies will change and must be flexible enough to react with external factors. So you might follow one strategy and then pivot to a different one after, but don't implement them both at the same time. The problem with many projects is not the lack of a compelling vision or mission. It's the lack of strategy to get there. Your DAO members need to trust that you have a plan and idea in place of how to move from point A to point B. Once you have that trust, they will help you move towards the vision. So have a clear strategy in place to build that trust from the outset. To recap then, your purpose explains your why. Your mission describes what you're doing to fulfill your purpose, and your strategy describes how you are going to achieve your mission. Why, what, how. Now let's look at some organizational strategy examples. The first one is from MakerDAO. We'll look at purpose, mission, and strategy. Their purpose is to create an unbiased global financial system. The mission, to foster the proliferation, acceptance, and use of a stable, non-discriminatory currency that users control. And the strategy, the how, create and maintain a system that allows users to generate DAI by depositing collateral assets approved by maker governance, whilst maintaining DAI's soft peg to the US dollar and ensuring over-collateralization to cover the value of all outstanding debt. A bit of a mouthful, of course, but yours does not have to be this complex. Next up, let's look at Uniswap. Again, purpose, mission, strategy. The purpose, to build trustless and highly decentralized financial infrastructure. Mission, to enable a persistent and censorship-resistant source of financial liquidity with minimal value extraction. And the organizational strategy, the how, to create and maintain an open source and censorship-resistant protocol for providing liquidity and token trading on a public blockchain. Again, of course, yours does not have to be this technical. If you're just building a social DAO and all you do is host cool parties to bring people together, then that is your strategy. No need to complicate it. If you haven't developed a strategy yet and still working on how to get from point A to point B, what are some criteria for creating a good strategy? Well, number 1, it must advance your mission. A good strategy is fully consistent and in full alignment with your mission. Number 2, keep it simple. Make sure everyone in the DAO understands it. You must be able to explain it in just a few sentences. Number 3, focus in and narrow the scope. Don't try multiple approaches at the same time. And number 4, fit resources within opportunities. A good strategy takes advantage of current resources and assets to seize existing opportunities. When things change further down the line, so will your strategy. So just stay flexible. When developing your strategy, it's very important to prioritize your critical success factors. Now, You might have many things that you wish to accomplish, but there should only ever be one priority at organizational level and for each domain or working group within the DAO. So the DAO and every other team or function should be asking themselves, number one, what do we need to prioritize above all else to succeed? And number two, what compromises do we have to make now to benefit our future? If you're struggling to figure out what to prioritize, then the even over statement can be very useful. The even over statement, which is a form of strategy development, does a great job of indicating that even though we value the thing on the left, we value the thing on the right even more. Amazon, for example, might use the statement market share even over profit margin to clarify that although profitability is important, at this moment the company would rather invest cash flow in further cementing its dominance in the market. Good even over statements prioritize one good thing over another good thing. For instance, small sustainable business even over a global enterprise. User growth even over revenue conversions. User-friendly desktop experience even over a mobile experience. Local clients even over global clients. Or great user experience even over decentralization. So by using even over statements, we can prioritize a list of multiple success factors and bring clarity to what's the most important right now. This is a great exercise for you to carry out across all of your different functions or working groups to surface their most relevant and important critical success factors right now. So what does this look like in practice? Let me give you an example of how we used the even over statement to prioritize DAO Club's critical success factors and set our strategy. As a reminder, DAO Club's mission is to empower DAO builders by providing them with the knowledge, network, resources, and support they need to succeed. Now, how can we advance our mission? Well, first, we made a list of all the things we can do to empower our DAO builders. Things like online meetings, in real life meetings, asynchronous communication channels, live social gatherings, live workshops, courses, video tutorials, mentorship, guidance, and even funding. But what do we need to focus on to advance our mission right now? So we said online meetings even over in real life meetings, asynchronous communication channels even over live social gatherings, courses and video tutorials even over live workshops, and mentorship and guidance even over funding. So DAO Club's strategy has been developed from those even over statements into host weekly online events for DAO builders to learn, develop, and grow their relationships with each other, provide them with a platform to network and communicate in a private members-only area. And that is our strategy. Okay, so you now have a strategy, but how do you know it's working? How do we know we're advancing our mission, and how do we measure the progress we're making whilst moving from point A to point B? These measurements or KPIs or metrics all differ from DAO to DAO. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach. For instance, some KPIs for protocol DAOs may include TVL, total value locked, protocol revenue, transaction volume, number of unique token holders, or number of integrations. Some KPIs for social and cultural DAOs may include member engagement, member activation, member retention, activity on governance forums, or number of events and participants. Some KPIs for developer-focused DAOs may include number of GitHub stars or commits, number of features released and bugs resolved, number of unique developers contributing, and so forth. Although tracking these progress metrics is important, remember every DAO is unique, and what matters to me might not matter to you. So make sure you understand why your metrics matter to you. Don't just measure progress on things that don't really move the needle. Okay, that's all the content for lesson number 2. Here's what you need to do next. Number 1, Develop your DAO's organizational strategy. If you already have groups or teams carrying out different functions, then develop a strategy for each of these too, like a marketing strategy, a communication strategy, or a service strategy. Forget the word strategy. Just write down how your DAO is working towards its mission. Like, how does it actually work day to day? What is the business model? Keep it plain and simple so that a 5-year-old can understand it. Number 2, communicate your organizational strategy clearly for everyone on the outside and the inside of the DAO to see, whether it's a website, a Twitter, a blog, or a Notion page. Use it to attract talent into your DAO. Number 3, make sure new contributors understand your organizational strategy and implement the team level strategy in which they are contributing to. They must clearly understand how they are going to get things done on a daily basis. And finally, number 4, set KPIs that matter and measure progress over monthly and quarterly periods to make sure you are actually advancing your mission using a rapid feedback loop. Okay, this is the end of lesson number 2 of season 1. Remember, in order to join season 2, the cohort with live weekly meetings with other DAO builders, you must submit your organizational strategy upon completion of this course. So write down a short strategy paragraph in your homework document to make sure you don't fall behind. If your DAO is already up and running, I'm sure you already have some form of strategy written down in a white paper or in an internal knowledge base. You can just copy it into your homework document, ready for review at the end of lesson 8. Good luck.